It's showtime! Welcome! Hello, everyone. Happy. What day is this? Hey,
Monday.
it's actually Monday for a change. It's a little joke because we have been switching back and forth between doing Mondays, doing Tuesdays. We've had a different co host. We've had a different combination of lineup and showtime, I feel like, for the last month. And now, thank you so much, Ashley, for joining us. I'm so excited to introduce you to our audience as soon as we actually start. Since you haven't been here before, this is our little pre-show. We have a little warm up here for just the folks who tune in live on YouTube. And then we'll do an official little kickoff for the recording of the podcast that gets cut up and distributed. So only the folks watching this live get to see this. And we always check in, first of all, with some of our friends who join us for the live stream. And first, as always, is Michael Bingham saying, "What's up to everyone? Welcome, Michael, to the podcast. Yes, we are here to have some fun." Checking in Derek Ho's corner, as always, Blossom and Michelangelo. Welcome, folks. Brian Sager is excited to meet the Ashley Carter. And
The one and only.
pouring one out for John Landau. This was not in our list of news stories, but a very sad. Passed away after a struggle with cancer. Definitely too young. And theme park folks know him from Avatar, working with James Cameron, Flight of Passage. A lot of people don't know that he was Bruce Springsteen's manager for many years. And without his efforts, Bruce would not have done We Are the World. And We Are the World probably would not have happened without Bruce. So thank you, John Landau. And is checking in again, hey, to say hi to Ashley. Hey, Jaden. And that is just about all the folks we have in the comments, but we've got over 60 folks watching on the live stream.
Wow.
So let's jump in and let's do this thing, right? We'll kick it off in 3, 2.
Please lower your head and watch your step while boarding.
Welcome to the Attractions Podcast. You are all clear for dispatch. Have fun.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Attractions Podcast, sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. I am Seth.
And I'm Ashley.
And we are here to talk to you about the latest and greatest in theme park news is more, as well as what's going on in our own lives. And this week, you may have noticed Carly cannot be with us again. Our previous substitute co-host, Andy, is watching from home. Hi, Andy. Instead, we have a brand new guest co-host, and I am so excited because I've wanted to have you on the podcast with us for so long. I was a fan of her back in her Spectrum News days, and now she's on to bigger and better things. Everyone, please welcome Ashley Carter. Please tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Well, Seth, thank you for having me on because, we've talked about this before when we have gone to the theme parks and like, oh, gotta
do this sometime.
I love talking about theme parks. So I previously covered theme parks for Spectrum News. Now I have my own blog site, Theme Park Decoder, and I still go to the parks. I'm a big theme park fan. I previously was a cast member at Disney when I did the Disney College program. I worked over at Tower of Terror. I've been, loving the theme parks ever since. So
we could probably do a whole episode sometime about horror stories and memories for being a CP.
Oh, I have tons of stories.
Did you live in Vista Way back when Vista Way
existed?
existed?
So I did the program twice, and I lived in Vista Way the first time, and never again.
that could definitely be a whole episode.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I have had an exciting week attending a lot of grand openings. Just in the past 7 days, I did the Fort Wilderness cabin event. I got to see the first technical rehearsal for a certain parade we'll be talking about in a little while. And yesterday I got to head over to SeaWorld for a brand new attraction that we will also be chatting about. But first, before we get to those, we've got a little bit of news in the queue to chat about. All right, we are going to start out with some news that made a lot of folks panic when it dropped this week. So we're going to say don't panic, but the first wave of tickets for Epic Universe will not be single day tickets. If you want to purchase one of the very first tickets to Universal's Epic Universe opening in 2025, it looks like you are going to have to do it, at least initially, as part of a multi-day pass bundle, which means you'll have to buy a minimum of 2 days to Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios Florida in order to buy a 1-day ticket to the new Epic Universe park. And that 1-day Epic Universe ticket will not allow park hopping back to the other parks. Before anyone freaks out, this is part of information that was sent out to travel agents and ticket sellers. This is part of the initial wave of ticketing information. This is not the last word. We expect that at some time before or shortly after the park opens to guests, there will be options to just buy a ticket to Epic Universe. We don't know what those options will be yet. This is for the folks who want to make sure that they are in the very first wave of ticket buyers. They are going to squeeze you by making you buy tickets to the original parks, whether you want them or not, in order to get that coveted ticket to Epic Universe. And this is either evil or brilliant or evilly brilliant. What do you think of this? What do you think's going on here?
I mean, I honestly wasn't totally surprised by this strategy approach.
Mhm.
I mean, demand seems like it's going to be really high for Epic Universe, and anticipation is really high. So I imagine this is just a way Universal's trying to kind of handle the crowds. And
Mhm.
like you said, this is just the first wave of ticket sales. I
Yeah.
mean, I think people initially freaked out because it was all over social media.
Sure.
Initially freaked out because they thought this was going to be the only option,
Right.
no other options whatsoever. And I think, like you said, it's important to note that this is just when ticket sales launch.
Yeah. This
So
is
this
very
is just for people who are like looking well in advance and they're like, I want to book a trip. They talk to their travel agent. Here's the options that we have for you. You can get this 3-day ticket or a 4-day ticket and 1 day that guarantees Epic Universe, right?
Yeah.
And then there'll be another wave or another phase of ticket sales, and
Absolutely.
there'll be like a single day ticket for
Absolutely. There will be single day tickets at some point. There will be an option. I don't know if there will be an annual pass right away that
That's what
includes it.
I want to know.
Because they don't want to be swamped with annual pass holders camping out.
True.
I believe there will be a way for people who are annual pass holders to buy a discounted ticket or get in on some sort of. I'm sure there will be previews. Annual pass holders make
Yeah, I
great guinea
imagine there will
pigs.
be some previews. That's what I'm hoping
Probably
for.
possibly paid previews even. I know I would pay for the opportunity to be a guinea pig there. Sure. But if you are thinking that the current 2-park annual pass that you have is going to magically get you into Epic Universe for the same price, you can dream on, because definitely there is going to be more money involved if you want to get into the new park. They're definitely going to take full of. And what I see this as being about is back when Islands of Adventure opened, it cannibalized Universal Studios Florida. You saw instead of Universal growing their market, just they shifted a lot of people, instead of going to the one park, went to the other. They want to make sure that they are expanding the number of days that visitors are attending their parks, and that Epic Universe isn't coming at the expense of IOA and
Right.
USF. So, there's no better way of doing that and say that you have to spend 2 days at the other parks in order to spend 1 day at the new park. You've instantly locked people in for a minimum of 3 days right there.
Right.
Also, not covered in this article, there have also been some leaks from training regarding hotels. It looks like they are reclassifying their hotels, kind of changing some of the designations, some of the labeling. And the most interesting leak to come out of that is it looks like the Helios Grand Hotel will not include free express passes the way the
Interesting.
top hotels do. My understanding is those free express passes were something written to the contract with Lowe's exclusively for those first 3 hotels. And that contract did not extend to Sapphire Falls when they built that. And my understanding is it doesn't extend to Epic Universe. Now, that could change, but for now, I think that Helios Grand is going to be sold on the location.
Yeah, like you're in the park.
But you're not necessarily going to get that same free unlimited express pass that people are used to. So we'll wait for that to be an official announcement before we go off on them for that. More information is going to be coming out. This is, like we said, this is just the initial leak for travel agents and ticket sellers. Keep an eye on our website for more information for the general public that we expect later this summer. Okay, next up, we're hopping over to Disney. And I mentioned last week that I've just booked my first ever trip to Japan. I'm very excited to visit Disneyland, Tokyo Disney Seas and Tokyo Disneyland. But it looks like Tokyo Disneyland is going on tour across Japan this summer. Disney is going to be touring the country with a drone show that features 1,500 drones, which is more than double the drones that we have in any drone show here in Florida. It looks just amazing. It's called Magic in the Air. It's going to tour through the summer and beyond. And the first stop that this is going to make is on July 20th at the Abekawa Abe River Fireworks Festival in Shizuoka City, Shizuoka. So it's a 15-minute show. It involves characters like Beauty and the Beast and Ariel. And it looks pretty amazing. It is definitely on a bigger scale than any of the drone shows that we've got here in town. Have you gotten a chance to see the new Disney drone show over at Disney Springs or any of the other drone shows that Disney's done?
Yes, of course, I was there, like, the first night and braved the crowds.
Oh my
The
gosh.
first night. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really well done, and I love that Disney did a drone show.
Yeah. This I think it's really neat. They did a one-time only drone show for the grand opening of Fantasy Springs. And it looks sort of like they maybe adapted it and have taken it on tour. It's pretty cool because here in Florida, when they do a one-time only show like the Dragon over New Fantasyland, that's usually sent off to a warehouse and never seen by anyone again. So it's great that even people who can't visit Tokyo Disney can see a little taste of it all across Japan this summer.
And it's a good promotion for Fantasy Springs.
Yeah, a fantastic promotion. It worked on me. I'm going. We tried to go and see the Disney Springs drone show this weekend. We had friends who were in town.
You went to see it on 4th of July weekend?
Well, okay, so maybe that wasn't the smartest move. I thought Saturday night, if we went to the late show, it wouldn't be too bad. So we actually never even made it close to Disney Springs because as soon as we pulled off of I-4, there was dead stop traffic. This is at 9 p.m. at night. We figured the first show, we'd miss the first show, people would be leaving. Oh no. We finally inched our way up to the parking garage, and not only my beloved orange garage was closed, not only the slightly less beloved lime garage was closed. The grapefruit garage was closed. The watermelon lot was closed.
The surface lots, yeah.
Every lot, every garage was closed, and we just got directed straight back out to Hotel Plaza and back onto I-4. We never even stopped.
Oh, no.
So hopefully I will make an attempt to see it during a weekday that is not in a holiday weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
if you go during the week,
big miss.
And even though it's the summer, if you go during the week, the late show, you usually don't have a problem. But yeah, going on the weekend, especially a holiday weekend,
it was a bad choice.
Yeah.
So maybe next time. For our next stop, we are swinging out to Knott's Berry Farm out in California. Camp Snoopy recently opened up at Knott's Berry Farm, and our writer Blake Taylor has taken a deep dive into what's new, what's gone, and what's hopefully still coming to the new Camp Snoopy at Knott's. Have you ever been to Knott's Berry Farm?
I have not. I've been out to California. I've done a few of the theme parks out there, but Knott's is not one that I've done yet.
You know, a lot of folks head out there and they're all about Disneyland and Universal Hollywood. I would say Knott's Berry Farm is every bit as worth visiting. They've got a great mix of roller coasters and dark rides, a lot of charm, a lot of theme. And who doesn't love Snoopy and the Charlie Brown gang?
I love
right.
Yes,
so
yes.
So they unveiled their reimagined Camp Snoopy area on June 27th, and they've had a Snoopy kids area for a long time. This gave it a complete refresh. This was like a big first of its kind thing back in 1983. Obviously, it aged a bit over the year. Definitely needed a touch up. And the big new thing that they got was Snoopy's Tender Paw Twister Coaster. This is a Zamperla kiddie coaster, kind of a mine train style coaster, but with cars that look like Jeeps. 42-inch height requirement, and it's gotten some good reviews for its smooth. I'm sorry, a 36-inch height requirement, 42 inches to ride it alone without a chaperone. Gotten some good reviews for its smoothness so far. Also, we've got some updated rides. The Off-Road Rally, which used to be the Rocky Mountain Trucking Company, got a retheme. The old Grand Sierra Railroad train rides, now called the Beagle Express Railroad. Even the gift shop got a glow up.
Glow up. I love that.
But there's still some things that aren't quite done. There's supposed to be a Sally's Swing Along giant swing ride. That one's not quite done yet. Hopefully in the next few weeks. They took away the Timberline Twister, which to make room for that roller coaster. They also got rid of the Ferris wheel. And the biggest kind of disappointment for me was they used to have a theater there where they did cute little stage shows with the characters. They were supposed to rebuild it and build a better stage. I guess there was some value engineering at the last minute, because instead of a stage, we just now have some AstroTurf and picnic tables. And that's a shame for me, because the rides are great, but honestly, adults do not fit all that comfortably in some of these rides. If you look on on our article, one of the rides that's still around is called the Linus Launcher. And it's this thing that you lie down flat on your stomach and get locked into this cage. It's kind of like the Zamperla Verlari flying coaster, except even snugger. And this is like, especially if you are male, this is possibly the least adult male friendly kiddie ride that I have ever suffered through. So yeah, some of these attractions are definitely for the kids, but the live entertainment was something that everyone could enjoy equally together. So hopefully they will correct that and bring that back. They've also the Woodstock's Airmail ride that is listed as not available, but they also say it's not permanently closed, so we're not quite sure what's
going on there.
With that.
Yeah.
anyway, hopefully a few more improvements still coming, but they've cut the ribbon. We've got a look at the grand opening ceremony on our YouTube channel. And this follows Kings Island, which also opened its own Camp Snoopy, an expansion for their Planet Snoopy Land earlier this summer. So I hope next time I'm there, I get to check it out because I do love some Snoopy.
Yes, I'm gonna have to go out there now.
Yeah, definitely. I recommend, if you can, time your visit with one of their food festivals. They do Boysenberry
Yes,
Festival.
that's one of the things I've always wanted to do because I always
Ab-
see that and people always say it's so good.
It is really one of the best food festivals I've been to in a theme park, as long as you like boysenberry. Next up, we teased this just a little bit earlier. July 7th, yesterday from when we were recording this, Penguin Trek, the new family coaster, opened at SeaWorld. The very first riders were some troop members from the Scouts of America, formerly known as the Boy Scouts, but now non-gender specific. They were the very first official riders, and me and Matt Roseboom, our publisher, were the very second official riders. We were on the train right after the Scouts. So I got one ride in. I have some thoughts. I believe you got to ride it as well during a media preview.
Yes.
So before we get into my opinion, why don't you tell us a little about your experience with Penguin Trek?
Yeah. So yeah, I got to experience it last week. I really liked the queue. I liked that it was themed. Like it really felt like there was some effort there with how they designed different aspects of it. I love that it was indoors and air conditioned. It's been so hot this summer.
That is definitely a
Um,
bonus.
Yeah, and then the coaster itself, I really enjoyed. It's a family-friendly coaster, so it doesn't go super fast.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought SeaWorld did a really great job. It was really a smooth ride. I was really surprised with how smooth it was. And I also liked at the beginning with the indoor section of the coaster, the different special effects that they used, right? You had like the rock work that makes it look like ice. And then you had the lighting where it would do some things to kind of get ready for that launch outdoors. And I liked how they had the screen there with the penguins, like it wasn't too overpowering and too many screens. So I think they did a really great job. I enjoyed it. What are your thoughts, Seth?
This is great. I feel like we can be the new theme park Siskel and Ebert, because whatever you like, I will just take the opposite
Go the
view.
opposite.
All right. I hate to say it. I had a very different experience than you. I got to tour this back early this year. I think it was back in like February or
Oh, was that
March, where
the
they
hard
had it
hat
out
tour?
for a hard hat tour. And I was really looking forward to it. It really looked like they were trying to build something that crossed that, straddled that line between dark ride and family coaster. Something that was accessible to everyone, but still had smooth thrills and visuals, a little bit of everything. I was really excited for this one.
But
First of all, I want to say kudos to the folks, the entertainment folks who worked the grand opening ceremony. They had these really interactive explorer characters, and bless their hearts, they're out there. It was like 90 degrees, and they were all wearing like Arctic parkas and hats and stuff, all bundled up with scarves. They were really funny. They pulled Puck out of storage. Puck used to be the mascot of the old Antarctica ride, which this attraction is using the bones of. So Puck is still kind of around as a mascot, and thoughts and prayers for whoever was inside that penguin costume, because they were working their butt off in the direct sun. Kudos to you. But the actual ride and experience, I hate to say it, left me cold. I'll start out in the queue. I fully applaud them for having an air conditioned queue. Praise the maker. The AC was pumping in there. I think that the queue works great when it's a situation with a very few people in
Mm.
who are basically just going through the perimeter of it. But
Mhm.
the way the queue is constructed is that you have all these cool, posters, bulletin boards with little things to read on the walls in the perimeter of the room. But the entire inside of the room is just a series of switchbacks. So
Mhm.
only when you are making that final lap around the outside can you
Can you
actually
see
see
what? Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
You're going to spend the majority of your time in a central switchback that has nothing really to look at.
Mhm.
So be great for that time where you get to see that, there's some fun Easter eggs. I noticed a little sign referencing the Abu Dhabi park.
Yeah.
Yas Island. So that's fun, and it's great that it's air conditioned. But I think that folks are going to be spending a long time in that queue because at least on opening day, I timed an average of 2 minutes between train dispatches
Oh,
with 18 people per train. That works out to just over 500 people an hour.
Mhm.
That's not a lot for a popular new attraction.
No.
So people are going to wait a long time, I think, at least initially, until the hype dies down for this one.
Mhm.
And when they do, you are lucky enough to get a very smooth ride. Everyone that I know who I've talked to who rode it during those first few days of previews got a very smooth ride. Something has happened in between when you wrote it and when I wrote it. I would not say it was smooth.
Mhm.
I would compare it on a vibration level to Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket.
Oh, no.
Um, I would say that it felt like if you've ever ridden in a grocery store shopping cart that had one wheel that was like chipped and flat
Uh-huh.
on one side. That's what it felt like. I felt
Oh
like I
my
could
goodness.
feel every time the wheel revolved over the track. There was a lot of vibration. There was a lot of shuffling.
Mhm.
The design of the train. This is a B&M train, but it almost feels like they were trying to copy an Intamin design, similar
Hmm.
to Velocicoaster. Intimate, or
Oh,
they've
yeah,
got
with
kind of the restraint that comes up and down, but then rests on your lap, and it's got
mhm,
a bit of a bucket seat that
mhm,
sort of tips you back slightly. So it makes your feet dangle. You can't really brace yourself with your feet.
mhm.
And I felt like I've got skinny hips, but I felt like there was definitely tighter, left to right clearance versus
Mhm.
like a Velocicoaster, and so I really felt the vibrations just translating right through my pelvis. There was a bad jolt on the second launch, and
Mhm.
another really hard jolt as we came into the brake run.
Oh, yeah, where it hits
I
the
w-
yeah.
they were not talking officially publicly about this, but informally, I was told they are very aware of the issue. They're working very hard to correct the issue. They hope that they will have some sort of correction. So maybe that will get better. But I have never known a roller coaster to start rough and get smoother as as its
Yeah.
lifespan went on. So I I feel like um, I was looking forward to something that was really smooth and comfortable and really felt like skating along the ice.
Yeah.
And that's the experience I think that folks who wrote it when you wrote it got. It's
'Cause
not
that's
the experience that we got on opening day.
yeah, that's exactly how I would describe my
Yeah.
experience. It felt like skating on ice 'cause it
Yeah.
was so smooth, and then the movements of the
Yeah.
train along the track where it kinda does this kind of thing, it it just felt like I was,
Yeah.
like
And this
sledding or something,
and it,
and it was very smooth.
the profile, looking at the elements, there's nothing on there that should be rough.
Mhm,
There's no inversions, there's no
mhm,
really, tight switchbacks or anything.
mhm,
It looks like it should be engineered to just kind of glide through the course.
mhm,
And hopefully it will get to there sometime soon. But
mhm.
at least for us opening day riders, I I gotta say it did not live up to my expectations, unfortunately, and
Oh, that's a
it
shame.
hurts me to say that.
Yeah.
Um, it, I
Well,
gotta
now I have to
say,
go back and ride it so I can
yeah,
compare.
yeah. I would love someone who had a great first experience to see it now and to tell what the
The
difference feels
difference,
like because I
yeah.
only have the one experience to compare it to. I will say that this is not the first issue that SeaWorld has had in this last little bit. We had an article that was going to be featured this week, which we're just going to briefly mention right now because of the update that happened uh, earlier this week. I think on July 2nd, SeaWorld abruptly put out a new sign saying no re-entry and was prohibiting guests who had purchased a ticket from leaving the park and then re-entering during the same day. There was no prior announcement as far as we can tell. It was just suddenly enforced. And as far as we can tell, that lasted the day and that was it. That was gone by the end of that day. It has not been back, but it instantly sparked a lot of backlash on social media.
Oh, yeah, I
None
saw
of the
that.
other theme parks, interestingly enough, Universal Studios in Japan has the same policy. But I don't know of any other major theme park in Florida that prohibits guests from, exiting and coming back in the same day. So that looks like a self-inflicted wound that maybe some manager decided it would be a smart idea to try that without coordinating with all of their other partners and
Yeah,
quickly got slapped back.
I think part of the confusion and also the ultimate backlash was that there wasn't any clear direction as to why, right? Like,
Exactly.
if they said, "Oh, we're
Exactly.
doing this no entry policy specifically because it's 4th of July weekend,
Right.
and we're
Or
anticipating crowds,"
yeah.
okay. I
And
mean, you
there
might not like it, but it's like, okay, you at least have a reason. But it didn't seem like it was just kind of like, "Oh, we just have a no reentry policy," and it wasn't clear if it have applied to pass holders or there was,
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
conflicting information 'cause people were messaging me about it, and I was trying
Hmm.
to get information, and people who were at the park were asking, ambassadors, and they were getting different information,
Yeah.
so it was like,
It,
I don't know.
yeah. It did not seem to be a well coordinated effort to roll that out. And it wasn't, Disney and Universal certainly have had, days where they hit capacity and they say, unless you're a hotel guest or you have a date specific ticket, you can't come in.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, Obviously that's happened a lot less since Disney's
Done
done
the park
things like
reservation system.
reservations.
Mhm.
But this wasn't, as far as I could tell, a matter of we've hit capacity and no new entry. It was just
Mhm.
no re-entry.
Mhm.
So who knows? I don't expect to see them try that again, at least without some more advance notice. So,
Mhm.
heading over to a completely different theme park chain. Cedar Fair
The
and Six
flags.
Flags are now
I need a
Cedar
different name.
Flags. Yep. Cedar Fair and Six Flags have finally completed their merger officially. They've addressed the issue of their park names and IPs and told us a little bit more about what this combination means for the future of their 42 theme parks. That is one big chain.
Yes, it's
Um,
massive.
Now, in case you missed it, this was something that was announced last November. Cedar Fair Entertainment and Six Flags Entertainment have merged into a combined company. The new name is called Six Flags Entertainment, but curiously enough, the new logo uses the Six Flags name, but the Cedar Fair font.
Font. Yeah.
So hopefully, I'm hopeful that means that they are means that Six Flags parks are going to adopt more of the Cedar Fair style. Six Flags to me has always been an amusement park, and Cedar Fair is more of a theme park. You know, Obviously, neither of them are quite on the same immersion level as a Disney or a Universal.
Mhm.
But like when we're talking about something like Knott's Berry Farm, it's awful damn close. If you go to something like Ghost Town in
Mhm.
Knott's Berry Farm, that is every bit as good as Frontierland in any Disney park. So hopefully more of that Cedar Fair spirit will get imbued into the Six Flags parks. The merger was officially completed on July 1st. But none of the parks' names are going to change. They're referring to them internally as Legacy Six Flags Parks and Legacy Cedar Fair Parks. So they're not going to change the name of Knott's Berry Farm to Six Flags Knott's Berry Farm, or Six Flags over Carowinds or something like that. It's still going to be Six Flags Magic Mountain. All the names are the same for right now. Also, in terms of branding, for right now, it looks like Peanuts is staying with the Cedar Fair parks, and Looney Tunes and DC are staying with Six Flags. But they have said that these complementary portfolios of assets, they could at some point in the future share them back and forth. So keep an eye on for that at some point, but not right away. And finally, the one that I think a lot of people have been wondering about, your current Six Flags or Cedar Fair annual pass still only works for Six Flags or Cedar Fair Legacy Parks. You didn't suddenly get twice as many parks on your pass. It's going to be like that at least through this year, but they have teased that in the future there could possibly be an all park pass. And that would be one that I want someone to get one of those passes if they come out and document visiting every single park that it's valid for in 1 year. So a lot of exciting things. Like I said, I don't know if you have visited any Six Flags or Cedar Fair parks yourself.
I have.
I grew up with Great Adventure myself.
I'm originally from Tennessee.
Okay.
And I'm from West Tennessee, so it borders Missouri. So
all right.
Our Six Flags was Six Flags St. Louis.
Right.
So I've been there a few times. Yeah.
I grew up with Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey. The first amusement park that I know of that had to install metal detectors for security screenings long before September 11th because of all of the gang warfare that they used to have. Good times. It was the late 80s. What are you gonna do? Ladies in Jersey. It was a rough time. I'm just, like I said, I'm hoping that this elevates Six Flags game and does not tarnish the Cedar Fair parks, because they currently have a really good reputation. So we'll see what happens and keep an eye out for you. And finally, we're going to wrap up the news in the queue with the Beetlejuice Beetlejuice walkthrough attraction, an immersive experience coming to Hollywood ahead of the sequel's debut. And this is happening while I am going to be out in California visiting Oogie Boogie Bash. And I'm looking into maybe picking up some tickets for this because I am a fan of the original 1988 Beetlejuice, and I am very excited for the new film by Tim Burton, once again starring Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder, coming out very soon. And Catherine, I'm sorry, I cannot forget her. We don't talk about Jeffrey Jones or who played Otto. We don't talk about him either. So yes, so this is an immersive experience that is coming. It's going to be located right in Hollywood Boulevard, next door to the famous TCL Chinese Theater, across the street from Disney's El Capitan Theater. And it's going to combine a walkthrough with immersive recreations of sets from the film, photo ops and selfie stations, some live characters to interact with. And then you can purchase some themed food and beverage in the Afterlife Diner, or buy some souvenirs in the Afterlife Souvenir Shop with limited edition merchandise. That last one you can check out even if you don't have a ticket to the attraction. I might need to do that because honestly, I looked up the tickets to the attraction. They're supposed to start at $25. But on the weekends, standard admission is $39 plus a $2 booking fee. And if you want to get VIP priority access to the experience and complimentary download of the original movie, that is going to run you $62 per person. They do say that the experience will take about 70 minutes to go through. That's definitely longer than some of these immersive
Mhm,
attractions I've been to which typically 20, 30 minutes and you're
mhm.
you're kind of done. So um, I will have to see if I can check this out while
I mean, it
I'm
sounds
there.
fun, especially if
Have
you're
you
a fan of Beetlejuice.
yeah, have you gotten to do any similar kind of they've done these publicity tour immersive kind of things. Have you gotten to do any of them?
I have not, because 'cause they're usually, like, in New York or
Yeah.
California, and
Yeah.
it never quite lines up, like, bring something. I mean, I guess they couldn't really bring it to Orlando because we already have so many, like, theme park
Right.
experiences that are similar, but, no, I haven't. So
Did
but I am very interested in this one just because 'cause I'm a
did you
huge
get
fan
to
of
do
Beetlejuice.
the Beetlejuice haunted house that they had at Halloween Horror Nights a few years ago?
I did. I got to do it the year that they only had it as,
Y-
like, the one time.
Yes, yes, that it just opened for the like one
Yeah.
weekend. That was fantastic.
Yeah, and I happened to be in the park that day, and it was like, "Oh, it's open." And I'm like,
Yep.
"Okay." So I walked over there, and it was
Yes,
really cool.
I believe that was a contractually obligated opening to keep an agreement with Warner Brothers because
Yeah,
that was a COVID year, I believe.
yeah, and then they also
Yeah.
had it for the tribute store too.
Yes, they did a great job with it for the
Yeah,
tribute store, and so be exciting to see how this one turns out.
yeah, and more places are doing this now,
Yep.
like, where they have these really themed walkthrough
Yeah.
experiences with dining and merch and all that kind of
We
stuff.
were just talking last week about how this kind of thing is becoming the savior of dying malls.
Mhm.
Netflix is
Oh, yeah,
bringing
Netflix,
a like
yeah.
Netflix experience. Previously, they did a tour of a Stranger Things
Mm,
immersive experience like this. That they brought it to a mall in Aventura near Miami that I went down for,
mhm.
and now they're kind of having a permanent installation of these kind of things. So yeah, definitely when we've got these malls that have big anchor tenants that are dead, it's a
Yeah,
great.
great
Maybe
use
we
of the
should
space.
maybe just turn Fashion Square Mall into nothing
It's just
nothing but
immersive
immersive
walkthrough
experience. Yeah,
experiences. Yeah.
hey, better than what they got now. So all right, so we've come to the end of the news in the queue, and before we jump into our main attraction, it's time to hear a word from our sponsor.
The Attractions Podcast is brought to you by MEI and Mousefan Travel. Whether your next vacation is a magical trip to the theme parks, an exciting adventure to the pyramids of Egypt, or just a relaxing cruise on the turquoise waters of the Bahamas, MEI-Travel provides premium service and expert advice to help you get the most of your vacation. They are always free of any hidden fees or costs to you. Visit them at mei-travel.com.
It's time for the main attraction.
And for this week's main attraction, Universal Orlando has kicked off their brand new mega movie parade, now in technical rehearsals. And we were both at the resort for that first day of technical rehearsals on July 3rd. And we've got some thoughts about the brand new parade. First off, just to recap, we've talked about it on this show before, but this is their first daytime parade since the old Superstar Parade, the Kitty Character Parade ended. And this is their biggest parade yet. It's supposed to have 13 floats, over 100 performers, and it pays tribute to a lot of nostalgic Universal properties, callbacks to things like E.T., Jaws, Back to the Future, Ghostbusters. But they've also got elements in there from Sing and the Minions and Kung Fu Panda. So whether you're a Gen Xer like me or Gen Alpha, there's going to be something here to get you excited. Ashley, I know that you were there to see the first
Mhm,
public running of the parade. It was supposed to be the official debut of the parade, but it was relabeled as a technical rehearsal.
mhm,
But not all of the elements. There's still some things yet to come that are not quite ready for showtime.
mhm.
What did you think of what you got to see?
I mean, considering it was a technical rehearsal, and there also was the weather delay, I mean, I thought it was a pretty good parade.
Hmm.
I really liked how elaborate the floats were.
Hmm.
Um, and I remember reading the press release for this parade, and they mentioned, the Ghostbusters float was going to have the giant Stay Puft Marshmallow Man,
Hmm.
and then the T-Rex, and then seeing both of those things in
Yeah.
person, I was impressed, especially with the T-Rex puppet, um, and how they had the little details of like the saliva coming out
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
mouth. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was really well done.
So I want to start out by giving kudos, shout out to first of all the performers and technicians. It has not been easy on them. They've been doing overnight rehearsals for
Mhm.
weeks and weeks. They're out there running this parade at 3 and 4 in the morning,
Oh my
and
god.
then getting back up and doing day jobs during the day.
Mhm.
They have had to deal with a lot of weather, technical elements not being ready. And I think that the actors in this parade are really giving their all.
Mhm.
I was really impressed with some of the ones who are out walking the streets. They've got a mayor of Amity Island and a chief
Yes.
Brody who are you're really great in character, like chatting with the guests and interacting. Um, it's not just they're all doing the same 8 count lockstep
Right.
dance move like a
Right.
Disney parade. It's kind of like they're so locked into their choreography sometimes that they don't really have time to interact with the crowd.
Or venture
Um,
away from that,
yeah,
yeah.
and so I really liked the crowd interaction on this. And I also the designers, the artists, friends with a couple of them who worked on these floats, and the floats have absolutely gorgeous design. They're
Yeah.
colorful, they're detailed, they've got lots of great Easter eggs. I love how on a lot of them you'll see slightly different things depending on whether you're on the right or the left side of the street.
Mhm.
Like
Or
the
even
ghost,
the
yeah,
back
or on
behind, yeah.
the back, the Ghostbusters float, for example. If you're sitting on one side, you can see the librarian ghost, but if on
Mhm.
the opposite side, you see Slimer. So there's fun little touches like that. Um, I am gonna have to make some constructive criticisms, though.
Of course.
That I feel like these floats suffered from some value engineering and some budget cuts.
Mm.
That they look absolutely fantastic in still photos. But if you watch a video or you see it in person, you will instantly notice that they lack kinetics. They lack any kind of moving parts or lights. Um, I
Yeah, yeah.
designers, there were some initial thoughts of designing this so that it could run at either day or night. And for whatever creative or budgetary reasons, this was they did not invest anything in lighting at
Mm.
all. And I think that if you see here, even though this parade's taking place at 6 o'clock, so it's still full daylight, but you can see that, like, for example, these on the back to let's talk about the Back to the Future float.
Mhm.
Um, I think that even in daylight, if you had some LED lighting on the flux capacitor to make it flow, if
Yeah.
you had some fiber optics on the jet trails coming out, or
Mhm.
even have
Lights on the
the lights,
DeLorean.
the DeLorean's brake lights
Mhm.
being able to light up, I think that would add a lot. I think if these gears that you see, these broken clock gears that it's smashing through, if they could just rotate a little, just give a little bit of
Mhm.
visual kinetic interest. Because what it ends up as the actors on the float have to provide all of the movement, all of the kinetic interest, because the float itself, while it looks pretty, doesn't actually do anything.
Mhm.
I think if you go back to footage of the old Superstar Parade, which had far fewer floats, but those
Mhm.
floats, the old Minions floats, each of the Minion statues on the old floats had a moving arm or vibrated back and forth
Mhm.
or had some little bit of animation. There's no animation whatsoever on the Minions on the new float. Even the kids on the bicycle on the E.T float.
Mhm.
These look great, but the bicycles don't even, move
Yeah.
up and
The
down
only thing moves is
slightly.
like E.T. in the basket. He
Yeah,
kind of turns.
he well, that is just because the basket is attached to the handlebars,
Yeah.
and the kid in the front can turn the handlebars
Yeah.
back and forth. But there's no sense of kinetic energy coming from the floats themselves. The
Mhm.
only exception, of course, is the Jurassic Park float, which is the absolute showstopper. This Tyrannosaurus puppet. And that, to me, is the exception that proves the rule, because this is the float that was not built by Universal Orlando. This was the float that was built for Japan. It was originally for
Mhm.
the Japanese parade. And on that parade, every single float was on this level of detail and animation. I mean, they had a Harry Potter float that had special effects where people would cast spells and things would, go
Mhm.
everywhere. And every single float in that parade had that level of animation and excitement. And I think that the fact that this float is such a showstopper in our parade, instead of just one float among many like it was in
Mhm.
Japan, shows that while I think people are going crazy for this, because this is absolutely by far the best parade Universal has ever done in Orlando,
Mhm.
period.
Mhm.
But it wouldn't have taken that much more effort and money
To have some
to
extra.
make it to make it not, not just the best they've ever done, but really something that you could put up against Festival of Fantasy and say, this is better than Festival of Fantasy. I was hoping that I would go into this, and I feel like there's still nothing that compares to the Snuggly Duckling, the tangled float with everyone swinging back and forth,
Mhm. Mhm.
and the fire breathing Maleficent dragon, especially the way you see, when you watch this Jurassic Park float here, the animated puppet of this Tyrannosaurus Rex is fantastic, but his animation does not correspond or react in any way to the actions of the actors. The actors are doing a great job interacting with the crowd and each other, but it's like that T-Rex might as well not really be there, as compared to when Maleficent's dragon comes out during Festival of Fantasy. There's a whole choreography where you have the prince who's fighting against that dragon, and you have the Stiltwalker characters who are portraying the thorns that are growing up around him, and it's a
Mhm.
whole story that integrates the float with the characters. This more feels like there are characters who are walking next to a float, as
And
opposed
stuff's happening.
to So I'm being whiny, I'm being picky, I'm being overly critical, because once upon a time I was a parade supervisor at Universal way back in the day. I know how much work goes into it. I know how hard all these folks are working. I know that everyone who we're looking at these pictures is absolutely doing the best that they can with what they've been given. But I feel like that somewhere along the line, a decision was made to be, instead of to make this the best, to make it good enough. And I don't feel like that decision was made with Cinesational. I feel like Cinesational is an A+.
Oh
They
yeah, it's
knocked that out of the
amazing
park.
show.
And I
It
would
is.
have rather, instead of see them do 3 new shows, Cinesational, fantastic. Hogwarts, always my favorite of the castle shows they've done there. Stick with 2 things this summer. You could have held this for winter. You could have held this for next summer to have something to promote when Epic Universe is pulling all the attention.
Mhm.
I feel like maybe they spread themselves too thin by having 3 major, and actually, if you count DreamWorks and the
Oh
new
yeah,
show in
DreamWorks Land.
DreamWorks,
Yeah.
the new show in DreamWorks, I think, is, a better piece of entertainment than this. And, maybe they should have just quit while they were ahead and not try to open so many big things in one summer. Because I feel like while this is good, it does not live up to what it could have been.
Mhm.
That's my hot take. All right. Well, thank you for listening to my rant. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Ashley is going to go and record her own podcast, completely disavowing everything that I've said here. Hopefully, Universal will still invite you to events, because
Like Seth's not
Lord knows
going
they're
for Universal
probably,
anymore. What happened there?
I just got myself back on the media list after about 10 years of being banned from the ranch, and yeah, I guess I'll be back off the list pretty soon. But I don't know. They are having me out on Tuesday for the
Wow.
official media preview for this, and I am excited to see what changes and improvements have been made since the other night.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so and like I said, none of this is meant to be a criticism of any of the artists, any of the performers, because we know you're given a budget, you're given a box to color within, and you
And
got to stay
things
within that
change
box,
along the
and
way.
yeah,
Yeah.
and but what can I say? I have really high standards for Universal. I know the people there and what they are capable with when they are set loose and given the
Mhm.
right tools. And I want to hold their feet to the fire, and make sure that they're doing the best work that they are capable of. So.
Mhm.
All right. On that cheerful note, before we wrap things up, as always, we like to take a look back at what folks have been saying in the comments while we've been chatting. And we are going to start out with Vince Lamb, who is giving a welcome to Ashley,
Yay.
and hoping that everyone had a great 4th of July weekend. We completely skipped over our national holiday. I personally spent it at home, trying to
Same.
protect my cats from the neighbors, who every neighbor around us sets off fireworks like they're doing illuminations. I don't know if
Yeah,
you had a similar experience.
I did. Although at this point, my cat doesn't care anymore. I have
He's
a cat,
over.
and
He's just over it.
she doesn't care. Like the fireworks were going off, and I would look over, and she was just like chilling, like she didn't care.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Ours curl under the couch, and they're not thrilled about it. So.
yeah.
Cindy Bingham checking in to say hello to everyone. Hello, Cindy. Vince likes that Six Flags logo in the Cedar Fair font and shares my hopes for the merged company. And yes, as we were growing up, Six Flags Great Adventure was just as dangerous in its own way as Action Park. Oh, Action Park. I have the memories and probably still the bruises. Yeah, and I did not mean to leave out Jenny Ortega. She's
Oh
in
yeah.
Beetlejuice, and I really loved her as Wednesday in that
Mhm.
series. So Michael Bingham's super excited for that Back to the Future float. Hopefully he will get to see the parade soon. And also he is yes, I'm spilling some tea. All right. Or at least sipping it. I don't know. What can I say? I'm excited to go back in a couple days and completely change my tune about this parade. And if I do,
Maybe they'll
you
surprise
will
you
hear
tomorrow.
about it on next week's podcast when I say I was completely wrong about the parade. Well, so before we go, we want to, of course, thank our sponsors again, MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. Remind everyone who has been listening to please give us a rating or review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you happen to listen to us. Or if you're here on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe. And finally, please follow us at attractionsmagazine.com and search for Attractions Magazine on your favorite social media platform. Ashley, please let folks know where they can find you on the interwebs.
Oh yeah. So they can follow me on X, previously known as Twitter, at Ashley L. Carter 1. They can also follow Theme Park Decoder on Facebook, X, and Instagram. So
Awesome. And do you have a website?
I do, themeparkdecoder.com. So
Awesome.
tons of articles and all the stuff that I used to write about.
Check it out. There's a ton of great stuff on there. Also, if you get a chance, please check out the unofficialguides.com, where you can pick up copies of my latest books. And you can find me on all the social media platforms at S. Kuberski and at the Unofficial Guides. And until next week, we hope you folks stay safe, try something new, but most importantly, have fun. And thank you so much, Ashley, for being here. I hope I didn't scare you too bad.
No,
And that you'll
no, invite me
hopefully come back again sometime
anytime.
in the future. Awesome. Thank you. Thank everyone. Have a great day. Bye.